Hello everyone. Today we'll take you on a journey through the vastness of space and uncover 20 of the most fascinating myths about the cosmos. Get ready to debunk some popular beliefs and delve into truths that are even more extraordinary. Additionally, we'll share some interesting facts that will change the way you perceive the universe. Let's get started. Myth 1. The dark side of the moon. Myth. The dark side of the moon is never illuminated by the sun. Truth. In reality, the moon rotates on its axis, just like Earth. The dark side of the moon is simply the side we never see from Earth, but it is illuminated by the sun for half of each month. Imagine watching a YouTube video. Sometimes to see the full picture, you need to rotate the screen. The moon works similarly. Example: the Apollo missions took photos of the entire surface of the moon, confirming that every part of the moon is lit by the sun during its cycle. Did you know? The largest impact crater in the solar system, the South Pole Aitken Basin, is located on the dark side of the moon and has a diameter of about 2,500 kilometers. Myth 2. Space is completely empty. Myth. Space is a complete void with no particles. Truth. Although space is extremely empty compared to Earth's atmosphere, it is not entirely devoid of matter. There are scattered gas particles, cosmic dust, and radiation. You could say space is a giant laboratory full of mysterious particles and energy. Example: space probes, such as Voyager 1, which travel through interstellar space, still detect tiny particles of matter, even though they are very sparse. It might surprise you that in space there are clouds of gas and dust, such as the Orion Nebula, which are birthplaces of new stars. These areas are so dense and full of materials that they can form new planetary systems. Myth 3. Stars twinkle because they move. Myth. Stars twinkle because they are moving in space. Truth. Stars twinkle due to turbulence in Earth's atmosphere, which distorts their light before it reaches our eyes. It's not the stars that are moving, but Earth's atmosphere. It's like looking through rippling water. The image is distorted, but it's the water, not the object, that is moving. Example: observations of stars by orbiting telescopes, such as Hubble, show that stars shine steadily without twinkling outside Earth's atmosphere. Interestingly, the brightest star in the night sky, Sirius, is twice as bright as any other star visible from Earth. Myth 4. Humans can explode in space. Myth. If a human is exposed to the vacuum of space without a spacesuit, they will explode. Truth. In the vacuum of space, a human will not explode, but may lose consciousness within seconds due to lack of oxygen. Think of it like a diver without air. The body needs oxygen, and without it, problems start to occur. In 1965, during tests in a vacuum chamber, NASA engineer Joe Kittinger experienced a spacesuit failure. He lost consciousness, but did not explode, and was rescued, confirming that humans do not explode in a vacuum. Did you know? Joe Kittinger is also known for his record-breaking parachute jump from 31 kilometers high in 1960, breaking through the stratosphere and reaching speeds of over 988 kilometers per hour. Myth 5. Space is cold. Myth: space is freezing cold. Truth: temperatures in space can vary greatly depending on location. In the shade, temperatures can drop to -270 degrees Celsius, but in direct sunlight, they can reach hundreds of degrees Celsius. It's like being in a desert. The differences are extreme. Example: the International Space Station, or ISS, experiences extreme temperature swings from -157 degrees Celsius in the shade to 121 degrees Celsius in direct sunlight. It might surprise you that the coldest known place in the universe is the Boomerang Nebula, where the temperature drops to -272 degrees Celsius, just 1 degree above absolute zero. Myth 6. Astronauts float because there's no gravity. Myth: astronauts float in space because there's no gravity. Truth: astronauts float because they are in a state of free fall around Earth. Gravity still acts on them, but they are in constant free fall, creating a weightless effect. It's like you're constantly falling, but never hitting the ground. Example: astronauts on the ISS experience weightlessness because the station is moving at high speed in orbit around Earth, constantly falling towards Earth, but never hitting it. Interestingly, the ISS orbits Earth at about 28,000 kilometers per hour, completing one orbit every 90 minutes, meaning astronauts experience 16 sunrises and sunsets each day. Myth 7. The Big Bang was a massive explosion. The myth is that the Big Bang was a massive explosion in a specific location. The truth is, the Big Bang was the moment when all space, time, matter, and energy began to expand. It wasn't an explosion at one point, but the start of the expansion of the entire universe. Imagine a balloon suddenly inflating. Every point on its surface moves away. For example, the cosmic microwave background radiation, discovered by Arno Penzias and Robert Wilson in 1965, is a remnant of the Big Bang and evidence of its reality. And did you know, at the beginning, the universe was hotter and denser than anything we can imagine? Just 1 second after the Big Bang, its temperature was about 10 billion degrees Celsius. Myth 8. The sun is yellow. The myth is that the sun is yellow. The truth is, the sun is white. It appears yellow because Earth's atmosphere scatters blue light, changing the sun's color to yellow when viewed from the surface. It's like looking through colored glasses. They change the perceived color. For example, photos of the sun taken by space telescopes, such as the Solar Dynamics Observatory, show that the sun emits white light. And it might surprise you that if you were in space and looked directly at the sun, of course, through special filters, you would see it as bright white light. Myth 9. A black hole is a cosmic vacuum cleaner. The myth is that a black hole sucks in everything around it like a cosmic vacuum cleaner. The truth is, a black hole attracts objects in its immediate vicinity, but it doesn't suck in everything nearby. If the sun turned into a black hole of the same mass, the planets would continue orbiting in their same paths. It's like a magnet. It only attracts what is very close. For example, stars orbiting the supermassive black hole at the center of our galaxy, Sagittarius A, are not pulled into it, but orbit around it. Interestingly, In 2019, scientists captured the first ever image of a black hole shadow in the center of the M87 galaxy, a major breakthrough in astronomy. Myth 10. You can see the Great Wall of China from space. The myth suggests that the Great Wall of China is the only man-made structure visible from space with the naked eye. But the truth is, the Great Wall of China is actually hard to spot from orbit, and many other human structures, such as airports or highways, are much easier to see. It's like looking for a needle in a haystack. It's there, but hard to see. For example, astronauts from the Apollo missions and satellite images show that other structures, like airport complexes, are much more visible than the Great Wall. And did you know, from space, you can see large bodies of water, such as Lake Baikal in Russia, which is the largest and deepest freshwater lake in the world. Myth 11. Mars is red because of iron. The myth claims that Mars is red because it is covered with iron. However, the truth is, Mars is red due to the presence of iron oxide or rust, which covers its surface. It's like seeing an old rusty car. The whole planet is covered with the same type of rust. For example, Mars rover missions such as Curiosity have confirmed the presence of iron oxide in Martian soil samples, giving Mars its characteristic red color. And it might surprise you that Mars also has blue sunsets due to fine dust particles in its atmosphere that scatter light in a way opposite to Earth. Myth 12. Saturn has only one ring. The myth suggests that Saturn has only one ring. In reality, Saturn has hundreds of thousands of rings made up of ice, dust, and rocks. It's like a giant vinyl record with many grooves. For example, the Cassini mission provided detailed images of Saturn's rings, showing their intricate structure and numerous layers. Interestingly, Saturn's rings are so vast they have a diameter of about 282,000 kilometers, which is enough to fit 6 planets the size of Earth. Myth 13. Humans never landed on the moon. Myth. The moon landing was a hoax. Truth. The moon landing in 1969 was real. We have evidence in the form of moon rocks, photos, films, and footprints left by astronauts. It's like watching a documentary. The evidence is undeniable. Example. The moon rocks brought back by Apollo 11 astronauts have been extensively studied and have no Earth equivalents. Did you know? Apollo 11 brought about 22 kilograms of moon rocks to Earth, which are still being studied by scientists worldwide. Myth 14. Meteorites are hot when they hit the Earth. Myth. Meteorites are hot when they hit the Earth. Truth. Most meteorites are cold or slightly warm after hitting as the outer layer peels off, and the inner part is cold due to space temperatures. It's like baking a potato. The outer layer might be hot, but the inside is cold. Example. Numerous studies of meteorites found on Earth show that most are cool or slightly warm after falling. It might surprise you that the largest meteorite found on Earth is the Hoba meteorite, weighing about 60 tons, discovered in Namibia. Myth 15. The red spot on Jupiter is a permanent feature. Myth. The red spot on Jupiter is a permanent feature. Truth. The Great Red Spot on Jupiter is a giant storm that changes size and shape. It's like a massive perpetual hurricane on Earth. It changes, but never disappears. Example: observations of Jupiter by telescopes, such as Hubble, show that the Great Red Spot has shrunk by about 1/3 since the 19th century. Interestingly, the Great Red Spot is so large it could fit 3 Earth-sized planets. Myth 16. Astronauts are in total silence. Space is completely silent, and astronauts can't hear any sounds. The truth is, sound cannot travel in space because there is no air. However, astronauts hear sounds inside their spacecraft and radio communications. It's like being in a soundproof cabin. Silence outside, but you can still talk inside. For example, astronauts on the ISS regularly communicate via radio systems and hear sounds from machines that keep the station running. Did you know, on the ISS, astronauts can hear their own footsteps as they strike the walls or floor, as sound travels through the station's structure. Myth 17. Colonizing Mars will soon be possible. We will soon be able to live on Mars. The truth is, colonizing Mars is a huge technological, biological, and financial challenge. We still need to develop appropriate technologies for growing food, producing oxygen, and protecting against radiation. It's like building a city at the bottom of the ocean. Possible, but extremely difficult. For example, Elon Musk and SpaceX have ambitious plans for colonizing Mars, but they acknowledge it's a massive challenge, requiring years of research and preparation. It might surprise you that Mars has only about 0.6% of Earth's atmospheric pressure, making life on its surface without special suits impossible. Myth 18. Planets are perfectly round. The myth is that planets are perfectly round. The truth is, planets are slightly flattened at the poles due to their rotation. It's kinda like spinning a donut on a stick. The centrifugal force makes it flattened. For example, Earth has an oblate spheroid shape, meaning it is wider at the equator and flatter at the poles. Interestingly, Jupiter is the most flattened planet in the solar system. Its equatorial diameter is about 10% greater than its polar diameter. Myth 19. The Sun is a giant ball of fire. The myth is that the Sun is a giant ball of fire. The truth is, the Sun is a ball of plasma where nuclear reactions transform hydrogen into helium. It's like a giant nuclear reactor, not a bonfire. For example, temperatures on the Sun are so high that hydrogen is in a plasma state, and nuclear reactions generate enormous amounts of energy. Did you know, every second, the Sun converts about 600 million tons of hydrogen into helium, releasing energy equivalent to 4 trillion atomic bombs of the power detonated over Hiroshima. Myth 20. Mars has a lot of water. The myth is that Mars is full of water, you just need to find it. The truth is, Mars has very little water in the form of ice. There are no oceans or rivers like on Earth. It's like searching for water in a desert. There's very little of it, and it's hard to find. For example, missions like Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter have shown that Mars has only small amounts of water ice, mainly at the poles. It might surprise you that Mars also has seasonal slope streaks, called recurring slope lineae, RSL. which might be evidence of periodic salty water flows. These were our 20 fascinating cosmic myths. I hope debunking these myths opened your eyes to the incredible reality of the universe. Let us know in the comments which myths surprised you the most. Don't forget to subscribe and click the bell icon so you don't miss any future cosmic episodes. See you next time.